Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode 11. So the Knicks had their first preseason game last night. And they basically lost by 30, maybe not exactly 30, but they got crushed. You should not be concerned with the outcome. In these preseason games, you should never look for a victory in these games. I mean, you don't want them to play poorly, but a lot of times teams are working on things and stuff like that. So, my first impressions, and by the way, you can visit lifeculturesports.com/Knicks Home Court for all of the Knicks Home Court podcast. Or you can go to iTunes, Life Culture Sports, no spaces. I have the Knicks episode there. But it's better to go to the website, because on the website you can just click on lifeculturesports.com/Knicks Home Court and you'll get all of the Knicks episodes. They'll be separated on there. Couldn't separate them on iTunes. All right, so my first impressions is, first of all, I felt like the Knicks were a little tentative in the beginning, as you know, new teammates. That's how it is. Joakim Noah did not play because of a sore hamstring. Let's hope that it's just a sore hamstring and nothing more than that, or nothing more than a sore hamstring. Let's hope it doesn't linger. So they were tentative. Derrick Rose wasn't trying to attack early. Everybody was filling everybody out. You know, there was a lot of triangle action. They were trying to run the triangle with the parts that they knew. A lot of ball movement and stuff like that. One of my complaints I have with the triangle is I noticed that it's a good offense. There's no denying that. But I noticed that this Knicks team, I feel like they're doing a lot of passing with no direction. You know, when I say this Knicks team, I mean over the last couple of years, I noticed they come down the court and it's like 3 or 4 passes that really do nothing. And it really, I mean, it sets up the offense. You know, you would say, what is it actually doing? It's setting up the offense. But a lot of times, there's no real action. It's 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass. Okay, now the offense is set up. And I don't know. I just feel like that always annoyed me. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, the Knicks started off decently. They missed a lot of open shots, by the way. So I can't say the triangle wasn't working or they weren't doing well. There was a lot of open shots, and they just was cold. They just was missing everything, you know. And as when you're learning a new system, it's not going to be natural. You're not going to play naturally like you would if you were running a system or a simple system like the pick and roll. They were facing Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets run a simple form of pick and roll. James Harden playing the point, which makes sense. He's a big guy. He's a great passer, great scorer. So you have to pay attention to him. He's deadly in the pick and roll. And if you look at the Rocket system, it's really simple. Just pick and roll, penetrate, kick out for 3. It's really, really a simple offense. And that kind of offense, I believe, can win a lot of games in the regular season. In the playoffs, it's a little different. In the playoffs, I believe you need post play, because sometimes those pick and rolls and those 3-pointers, they're not falling, it's not working. Teams game plan against it. You know, you need another option to go to. And this is what brings me to the triangle. The triangle is a very good playoff offense. I think it's an awesome playoff offense. When things slow down, you can go to your system. By the end of the first quarter, the Knicks are already getting blown out. By the end of the half, they were losing by, I think it was maybe 25 points already. But in the first half, I noticed Kristaps Porzingis wasn't getting the ball enough. You know, he had limited touches, but with all his touches, he was maximizing his touches. I think he was 5 of 6 to begin the game. You know, he wasn't missing many shots. He had a putback to start the game. And he's a presence on the offensive side and defensive side of the ball, which is, I mean, he has a potential to be an elite two-way player. I'm talking about great on both sides of the ball, which makes you a special player, no doubt. One guy I was impressed with was Hernan Gomez. Billy. I was impressed with him because his first NBA game, his transition seemed seamless. Same things he's been doing, in the Spanish league, little set of pick and roll. He just looks natural out there. I look for him to take some of Kylo Quinn's minutes. I like Kylo Quinn, but I think that Hernan Gomez is going to take some of his minutes. He seems a little more skilled than Kylo Quinn and a little more mobile than him. But we'll see because, one thing I did notice is that the Knicks defense was atrocious in the first half. I mean, it was atrocious. It was ridiculous. It was bad. They better learn how to defend that pick and roll because, maybe there's some teams they can outscore. With that triangle offense, you're not really outscoring people. And another thing I noticed, I didn't really see much running. I know they're trying to get them to run, but the opportunities are not there. I think the Knicks don't have the jets. They don't have the players to run like this, but we'll see. Because then to play this high-speed offense and to run like that, you don't want to force the issue if the defense is back. If the defense is back, you're just running into the defense and making, taking forced shots. But I do look for Derrick Rose at times to get the ball on a rebound and take it coast to coast and things like that. But they're really not like a speedy team in that way. But we'll see. What other first impressions? Well, I'll be remiss if I didn't talk about the third quarter. You see, the third quarter is very important to talk about because what I realized in the third quarter, just for a little bit of time, or maybe for the entire quarter, it looked like they kind of scrapped the triangle offense. It looked like some professional pride started kicking in. Derrick Rose started being more aggressive, trying to score. Carmelo Anthony started being more aggressive, trying to score. They ran some high pick and rolls with Kristaps Porzingis, and no matter what you say, the high pick and roll with Kristaps Porzingis and Derrick Rose, I can tell you just from the little bit I saw today, is unstoppable. No doubt. There is no doubt that would be unstoppable. And also the high pick and roll with Carmelo Anthony. When you have a guy that can shoot from the outside, that can post up on the inside, that can penetrate in Carmelo and in Kristaps, it's just crazy. It'll be crazy. But Knicks fans, I told you in my last podcast, if they lose by 15, I literally said that. If they lose by 15, do not be discouraged. I said that because, you have all these new players. There's only 6 players left on the team. So you're going to have an adjustment period. People don't know where to be. They don't know where to go. Courtney Lee looked okay. They didn't have Noah. So, look, this is a work in progress. There's going to be some games where they look outstanding. There's going to be some games where they don't look good. This is what happens with a new team. I can point to one of the greater teams in league history was the Miami Heat. They started up the season 8-7, and that was with LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade all in their prime. And that was once the season started. First third day was 8-7. Then they got hot. It takes time. So, I'm up here listening. I got to bring this up. Because you're going to have your pundits who engage in confirmation bias. So, I listened to Robin Lundberg the other day. And so he goes on this, he likes to tell a story before he gets into making his point. So he was talking about how the preseason, he never took anything from the preseason, but now he's starting to change on that because certain trends can lead in, can be in the regular season and blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, I want to know, show me evidence where preseason ever mattered in the regular season. I don't think you have any. He set this whole thing up just to say the Knicks are not going to be good. Like he said, oh, look at the Clippers. They got blown out by Golden State. What does that mean? That means nothing. Clippers still can have an outstanding season and still lose to Golden State. But then when they played them, look at last year. Did we learn anything from last year? Cleveland got crushed by Golden State multiple times during the season. Crushed. In the playoffs, down 3-1. and they still won the championship. So please, man, get the hell out of here with that bullshit. So that's why I try to tell you, Knicks fans, don't listen to this dude. I mean, I like his perspective, but always understand, Knicks fans got to understand this. The Knicks are going to have, the opinion on the Knicks are going to be negative until they start winning. That's just how it is here. It's going to be negative until when they start winning, you look stupid to be negative. It's really easy and it's lazy. They don't want to look at the intricacies. They don't want to look at the Knicks in the nuanced way. They just want to just look at the Knicks and say they're going to be bad. Look, they got blown out by Houston in the first preseason game and they have a team full of new players. And Noah didn't play. Let's just ignore all of that. And they're implementing the system that none of these players need. Let's just ignore all of this. The defense was bad. Yes, the defense was bad. No doubt. But other than that, I can't take anything away from that. The negative I take away, the defense was very bad. Positive I take away, watching that high pick and roll. I think at some point, if this triangle continues to slow down the Knicks offense, and if they seem to have extreme success, they scored 36 points in that third quarter. If they tend to have a lot of success running a high pick and roll, letting Kristaps handle the ball more, giving him the ball more, I think at some point they're going to have to, I wouldn't say move away from the triangle, but be willing to try other things. I find it peculiar, and I always did find it peculiar, that the president of the team in Phil Jackson hires coaches and want them to run a system. I think that's weird. I've always thought that was weird. I'm a Phil Jackson fan, but at the same time, I like what he's done with the team, with the talent he's amassed on the team, and I like his philosophies. However, I just think it's weird to hire a coach and say, run this system. I never liked that from day one. I believe in the triangle, but I never liked that he hires a coach and tells a coach to run his system. So Jeff Hornacek is a competitor. So I'm wondering if this triangle, and what if they start off every game down by 10, 15 points, and they come back using a high pick and roll? What's going to happen? Is he going to scrap that? Is Phil Jackson going to get mad if the Knicks scrap that and start winning? Now, I believe they shouldn't scrap it, only because I believe that the triangle offense is great for the playoffs. It really is a playoff offense. During the regular season, it's not a pretty offense. But you know that this is the funny thing. Let me tell you a funny thing about the triangle. You can tell that a lot of the players and Hornacek himself don't fully believe in this, even though he says it's just a system of spacing. Why is it that every coach that's been here in New York that is trying to run a triangle, except for Kurt Rambis, they want to run the ball as much as possible? They're trying to avoid running the triangle. That's why they want to run the ball. Run. Let's run the ball so we can avoid doing a triangle. Now, again, I think it's a great system, but the players need to be completely committed to it. Your cuts need to be hard. I saw a play in the third or second quarter with Brandon Jennings, where he gave the ball up in a triangle and he made a nice cut to the basket and the and one. It was a nice play. You have to be committed in that way. If you're not that committed, it's going to be difficult. And it's not a fun offense to run when you're not running it hard and efficiently. But I'll tell you what, that high pick and roll with Derrick Rose and Kristaps, or Derrick Rose and Carmelo, is literally unstoppable. That, to me, should be they should run down the court and run that as the first thing. Like if Derrick Rose gets down the court quick and Kristaps there, run that quick pick and pop with him. Real quick. Pick and pop, pick and roll. Run it real quick. I think that should be their first option. And if Derrick Rose gets down the court and it's Melo down there, run the pick and pop with him right away. It should be the first thing they do. They should try that every time down. And then if nothing comes out of that, then maybe get into the triangle. But to me, again, look, let's just see. It's just first preseason game. Again, I see a lot of good things. Kristaps is banging that three-pointer. He got hot in that third quarter. And they were running a high pick and roll, which literally is unstoppable with a player like Derrick Rose. It's literally unstoppable. It's literally unstoppable. But anyway, this brings us to the end of Knicks home court. I'm forgetting my own title of the show. This brings us to the end of Knicks home court, episode 11. Like I said, after certain games, I may make a little podcast just to analyze and talk about the game. But I really especially want to talk about this one because, it's the first preseason of the game of the year. And also, I might make these just to dispute hot takes. And I felt that Robin Lundberg came with a hot take. He couldn't wait to say the Knicks are not going to be good or the Knicks are trash. Now, he did say that he thinks Kristaps Porzingis is their best player. I'm going to pump my brakes on that right now. Because just because he might look like the best player right now, because he plays both sides of the ball and all of that, just because he may look like that, it's different when you're the best player and you're the focal point. You see, it's easy for a player to shine when he's the third option. You turn him into the first option and teams start game planning for him. Then you get to see who's the best player. Until then, Melo's the best player because teams are game planning for Carmelo Anthony. They're not game planning for Porzingis as of yet. So I can't give him that title yet. People don't understand what makes a great player and what makes a franchise player is when teams game plan for you. You don't score as a result of other players. Teams are game planning for you. And when that starts to happen and he starts to continue to get his like that, then I can say he's the best player on the Knicks. He has the potential to be the best player on the Knicks, but he's not the best player yet. All right, I just wanted to get that in. Until next time, the next Knicks game is against the Brooklyn Nets, and that's on the 8th of October. We'll see. I might do another podcast based on that, or I might just do one this weekend. But stay tuned. I'm looking forward to doing the games, doing it right after the games. If not, I'll do my normal Sunday Knicks home court podcast. It's been real, folks. Take care of yourself. Don't go crazy, Knicks fans. It's in Knicks Twitter. And I'll speak to y'all later. Peace.